Hi Libra, welcome to your mid-December 2018 tarot and astrology reading. Thank you for all your likes and subscriptions. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. We have monthly and mid-monthly readings for all the signs. So Libra. In the December reading, I've discussed most of the planetary action in the sky at the moment, so if you haven't already looked at that, please do. But the most important part that I want to speak about at the moment for you guys is the full moon in Cancer. And it's a big one in terms of your career, okay? So you're thinking about 2019 already, I suspect. And when you're thinking about it, how do you want your career to look? Because this full moon gives you a release. It brings certain things to a head. It brings certain emotions to your attention. Full moons are designed to bring to the surface what is dwelling in our subconscious and what it is that we truly feel, and along with that comes what we truly want. So for this full moon, it's a sentimental one, indeed, but to have it in your career sector, it's telling me that you should really consider what it is that's not working. Okay? A lot of the time that's what full moons are. It's considering what's no longer serving you, what's no longer working for you. But this full moon's going to be a beautiful one. I mean, we have the sun in Capricorn, which is taking over your family sector. So for Libra, it's going to be a great time to spend time at home and really make if you've recently moved or you're thinking of moving, this is all in your favor to focus on that type of activity. So really think about it, because it's prime time for doing so. Astrology is not necessarily always predictive per se when things like this are in the sky, but it's more to do with the energies that you have to work with. So if you are thinking of moving or you are thinking of changing house, etc., it's a great time to consider that sort of activity, okay? As I say with the full moon, it's also a great time to reflect on what it is that you are doing with your career. Okay, Libra? After a lengthy retrograde period, and Venus, your ruler, being in retrograde, and leaving shadow, you're finally getting back to your complete authentic self with a lot more information, a lot more tools, a lot more of a grounded perspective on what it is that you want, and therefore you'll be able to charge ahead. You've begun in a deadlock situation, so you may have been indecisive in true Libra fashion. We have a King of Cups, so we may have a water sign. 10 of Pentacles in the positive position. Challenge position is the 2 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. So there is indecision. You are a bit confused. Right, okay, let's see what this is about. Could be a fire sign. Page of Wands. Well, so right off the bat, we have no major arcana. If we were to leave it at this, I would say it's going to be a pretty tame end of the year. But we're going to be going over this a couple more times, so we'll see, Libra. Stay tuned. So the 2 of Swords and the 2 of Wands. Very challenging. I get it. 2s are oftentimes about considering 2 perspectives. For the 2 of Swords, you're at a choice, but you're feeling like the energy is a little bit stale. You're feeling a little bit uncertain of what lies ahead if you were to go down a different path. You're not entirely sure what either path leads you to, but you feel like you're stuck in what it is that you're doing currently. The interesting point here about the 2 of Wands when it's in the challenge is that the issues that you face are to do with progress, and they're to do with discovery. Okay, so it looks to me a lot like the path that you've been going down is no longer working for you, and that's what the full moon is going to highlight. You feel like you've been going about something the wrong way. Move the light on this so you can actually see. Funny the 2 of Swords is in the dark. I know that it's just to do with the practical circumstances of this. The computer is blocking the light. But I feel you are quite in the dark about a decision. You know, I heard this expression earlier that I thought was quite funny. And this may apply to some of you, but someone described themselves as a mushroom because they were always being kept in the dark and fed shit. So if you've been feeling that way, it's time to make a move on something, right? the Two of Wands to me is telling me that if you want to make some progress, the idea comes in making a decision which suits you better than where you are. And I think you know instinctively, we always do have the answer within us. It's just that sometimes there can be external factors. I feel for a lot of Libras it's to do with money being good, or it's to do with staying in a relationship because you feel like you should be. Now, we talked about this again in the December read, the need to stay in a relationship, sometimes for the sake of being in a partnership, which is oftentimes the great mystery that Libras have to overcome. It's being on your own journey and being responsible for your own path and your own actions. And maybe you have to consider a path for yourself without taking someone else into consideration, and that's making you nervous. Or maybe you don't know what to do about somebody else because they're keeping you in the dark. I think for a lot of you Libras, you seem to want the attention of a water sign. Or at least you want to have their, you at least want to be in communication with them. You want to be discussing things, but with the Ten of Wands, there's kind of this burden that is pushing you down and suppressing your energy. And you don't know how to progress with this because you do feel something's going to have to end for you to move forward. I mean, we have 2 10s here. And a 10 is in the positive position. So some sort of ending is in your favor, okay? And you can choose what you're going to do about it. I feel like delaying the situation may result in further work in the long run. And maybe cutting your losses at this point may be the best thing for you. Now, this is objective, as I'm looking at the cards. There's various interpretations. Once we've laid them all, it may be a very different way of going around that. It doesn't necessarily mean ending a relationship. I actually think for most of you, this is to do with a saga in your career, okay? In fact, for a lot of you, it is a new job offer. Let me see. See what we've got going on for Libra. There's an earth sign too. There's a Capricorn, Taurus, or a Virgo. You may be indecisive about them, or they may be slightly indecisive about you. Though there could be somebody else because we have the 3 of Cups. There could be 2 people you're interested in. Did you know this has been coming up quite a bit for you, Libra? Hasn't it? I mean, there's been a water sign and an earth sign for a while, I think. And then the 3, I'm sort of wondering, there could be somebody in your past that you're still attached to and somebody new, or there could be 2 people you're interested in. I mean, this is in your hopes position, the King of Cups and the 3 of Cups. So you may be hoping for a reunion with a water sign, actually. Could be the Earth too. The Chariot is in the positive position, which is perfect. The 5 of Wands in the challenge, and then the Page of Swords. And then the Queen of Wands underneath, so we have fire as well. Again. Okay, Libra. Sorry, I'm just getting my bearings. This is, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. The Chariot is all about willpower and encouragement, right? So basically when it's in the positive position, it gives you a green light to act, okay? It gives you the wherewithal to make a move, to make a decision, and it's actually pressing you to do so. I think a lot of you are going through a period whereby you feel very overwhelmed with everything that's going on and you cannot think straight. You can see the plus and the minus of every situation. You're trying to balance it up, and balancing it up is actually driving you a bit crazy, Libra. It's like you can't figure it out completely in your head, and it's gonna lift, okay? So Neptune was retrograde, and I personally think for a lot of people this has been a bit of a fog, and I think it sort of represents for you guys a lot to do with your work relationships and personal relationships and connection. It's almost as if some of you have been so distracted by work and your working environment, you may have missed out on something with the person you were dating or the person that you were interested in. Like, you might be missing an important key fact to take into consideration, and that's maybe why you're at such a confused point and you don't know how to proceed because you feel like you don't quite have all the facts, okay? You're running yourself ragged trying to figure this out, and the challenge for you is that other people are being defensive and not necessarily offering you up the truth. They're not necessarily offering you the conversation or the their personal emotions and opinions. They're kind of defensive about this. And it's not helping you make a decision. It's almost as if you're a bit stuck in limbo about this. You're a bit in two minds about something. Or someone, as I say. Okay? And the cards are encouraging you to act. Now, it is similar in the skies, and that retrograde season is over. We're coming out of shadow. We actually leave Mercury's shadow on, I think it's Christmas Eve. And then it'll be a lot more clear energies for people to be all systems go. And then we have Mars on the 1st of January. Well, actually the very late hours of New Year's Eve. It's going to go into your partnership sector, your opposite sign, which is Aries. And you're going to have this Chariot drive, right? Because this almost looks like New Year's Eve to me. The Three of Cups and the Chariot. Like, you get this driving force. And this is probably only for a few of you, maybe even one or two. But I think when I see the King of Cups and the Three of Cups, it's almost like someone has been drunk texting you or not giving you the full story because they're inebriated. So it's like you're trying to have a serious conversation with somebody and maybe they're drunk, and you're not getting much sense out of them. This may be at a party, you get into a fight with your partner because they're drinking too much, and it's like maybe you just leave or something. But I sort of feel like enough is enough for some of you with a very codependent, very draining partner that could be a fellow air sign, an Aquarius, Gemini, or another Libra. But they're weighing you down, okay? For some of you, I think it's good to be firm and say you've made enough sacrifices for some people. And you need to think more about yourself and your own success in the future, and take the partnership consideration out of it if it is one of those codependent situations. If not, if you're dating somebody new, or if you're not dating anybody at all, I think you need to get out there and make some moves, because the Chariot asks you to act. And the Ten of Pentacles means you're an absolute catch. You have so much going for you. You're someone's ideal. Don't sell yourself short. There is also a fire sign, so I'm wondering how the fire sign is going to play out here too. But Libra, I feel like you need to be a bit more tough love on yourself in terms of the people you've been surrounding yourself with. As I say, I have a feeling some of you have been very career oriented, and there's a level of separation in your partnerships that you may have been able to deal with until now, but at the same point you may be thinking, I don't think this is ideal anymore. I don't really feel like this is for me, or this isn't, I'm not getting anything out of this, or maybe even they're not getting anything out of this. This reminds me of that Use Somebody song by Kings of Leon. So I don't know if that applies to somebody. The Wheel of Fortune. Judgment, yep. Some of you are dealing with a Scorpio. Possibly one that's very fond of a sherry. Page of Cups in the positive. Challenges the Six of Swords. And the Queen of Wands has come out again. I thought she would, you know. As I said, I'm interested to see where she comes out again. She's right smack bang in the outcome. And we have the Empress here, which is beautiful. Venusian energy. It's your energy. So Libra, you, as usual, have the pick of the litter. You have 2 kings, a queen, the Empress, 2 pages, and you've got a choice, okay? You have been feeling the tides turning in some way, shape or another, but you've not been able to take to the sea. You wanted to stay on land where it's safe. Which is the case for ships, but ships aren't meant to stay docked, you know? I think it's time for a move. It's time to make a decision. The Wheel of Fortune means that it's, you know, this can go pretty well for you if you play your cards right. The Wheel of Fortune always brings an element of luck to this, which is good. Life moves in circles. Nothing is ever stuck. So if you've been in a negative cycle that you want to break, it feels like now is actually the time to break free. Judgment is making a decision that's for your greater good, for your greater self. And you know, I think it could be about a Scorpio for some of you. If it's about a Scorpio, they may be the type of person, my Scorpios are formidably private, so they may be the type of person who speaks when they've had a few drinks in them, and they're not necessarily forthcoming with their feelings in other ways. So you could be dealing with a very shy Scorpio person. And this is why the Page of Cups and the Chariot means you have to ask them out, okay? For some of you, you're dealing with a very shy love interest where you have to take action, and you have to accept that this person may be a bit more shy of you, because the Empress to me says that you're coming across very attractive, and you're coming across as someone who's very desirable and very nurturing and very alluring in many ways. And for a lot of people, that can make them nervous, okay? That can make them really, really uncomfortable in terms of approaching, because they might think you're unattainable, or they might think you're already connected. So drop a bit of a hint, Libra, if you are dealing with someone who's like that. Now, also with the Ten of Wands here and the Page of Swords, you may need to communicate that if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're doing all the running, you may need to communicate that this is how you feel. I do think you're dealing with a Queen of Wands person, or as I say, a younger air sign who seems to be a little bit of a hard work, okay? Someone seems to be kind of hard work. Now, I'm going to draw another card for the Queen of Wands, because I feel like she's almost disconnected to this page in the 10. And I never leave it on a court card anyway. And most of the readings seem to have ended on court cards, which is so funny. It's as if everyone's suddenly talking after a period of retrograde madness where nobody's really being themselves, nobody's really seeing everything as it is, and now people are sort of starting to come out of hiding. And they're talking a bit more, and, you know, the Star. Okay. Lovely. The Star has come out for most people, and I think it's that beautiful Christmas theme, but at the same point it also represents that you have endured challenges and they've made you who you are, and you can be hopeful for the future, especially if it is to do with a fire sign, by the way. There's hope there. There is some sort of magic inspired change, okay? There's hope. I think for a lot of you, you've maybe ended a very unhappy relationship, or you've been through the ringer in terms of people taking and taking and taking, and knowing that you will stick by them. And it might be time to date again. You know, get back out there, Libra. There's no need to stay put. If you are feeling lonely, there's no need to reject future love interest just because you feel like you'll get hurt again. Especially if you are being propositioned by a fire sign. I feel like a new fire sign seems to be very well aspected. And as I say, with Mars, when it's in Aries, you're going to get this real charge of energy. You're going to be a bit of a dynamo. So please don't worry if you have come out of something and you're missing this person. I don't think it's that long before there's a new spark coming through. I actually feel, for a lot of you, as if you have taken all you can and it's time for something fresh. I feel like Judgment and the Star always come up whenever it's time for something fresh, okay? Woo. Ah, goodness. Diana. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused towards your target and you will make your mark. Boundaries. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands, and your time is energy. Okay, so I did say I feel like there's a bit of an energy vampire for some of you. Sorceress. You're a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So what is it you truly want, Libra? Even if it's not, don't say a specific person, because if you want a relationship that is kind and nurturing, but you're in love with someone who's not like that, the universe won't change them. I know that sounds harsh, but it's one thing that I've learned. The more you see people wishing for a specific person who doesn't even match what it is that they want in a relationship truly, the more they screw themselves over, because they're constantly manifesting back this player person that gives them nothing and takes everything, when they could be manifesting someone who loves them unconditionally and who's 10 times better for them. you know? We don't always make the best decisions for ourselves. That's why it's sometimes better to leave it up to the universe to bring you what it is that you need rather than who you want. Because sometimes it's not a match. Sometimes the person you want treats you like dirt. And then you wonder why you're so unlucky in love. But if you are willing to trust that the right person will come along, you can find yourself in a much healthier relationship. You're not going to find a healthy relationship in the one that keeps hurting you. There you go. When I'm in alignment with love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. Let the universe take control of this, or God, or whatever it is that you believe in. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. So think, make your decision, because you are at an indecisive crossroads. Make your decision on what it is that you truly want for yourself. Where do you see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself with a person who uses you and makes a lot of work for you? Or do you see yourself with someone better? And if you love yourself enough to trust that there's someone out there who will treat you better, your path will become clear. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. There's bigger forces at play. We see the Wheel of Fortune, we see the star. It's the universe letting you know that there's bigger plans for you than what you're currently settling for, Libra. So if you make a clear decision to go after what it is that will give you real, authentic happiness, or at least wait for it, then you're going to feel a lot better about your decisions, about your direction, and the future won't appear so very foggy, okay? So I hope you guys have a wonderful end of the year. I love you all, and I'll talk to you in the January readings. Bye.